Hi guys, this will be the last video with potato reveals this year. It's just some odd leftover plants I had around. In this bag I had 2 plants with open pollinated seed from King Edward. It was kind of a surprise berry last year I found on a King Edward plant, and I had planted some of them. It wasn't too many plants. The other ones were all early plants, and this one was going strong until the frost came, so that's the only late one I got out of that batch of seeds. So we'll see what this bag has. The other plant in the bag died early, so we'll see if we get potatoes from 2 plants or just from 1. But looks like the early one was a white one, and the late one has red potatoes. So should be easy to tell. Since the berry where the seeds came from wasn't pollinated by me, I don't know what pollen donor pollinated King Edward. I don't have berries on King Edward most years, so I am assuming that it got pollinated by some other potato plant I grew last year. So, and I got out some red plants or red potatoes, so it could be one of my red varieties which gave the pollen, but there's no way to really tell if it was Heiderot or Kiefermagda Zuchtstamm, or maybe Apache also has red skin, or Asterix, which also has red skin. So very small harvest from the early plant. A little bit better harvest from the late plant, but not too much. So let's see what's inside here. It probably was one of the red fleshed potatoes donating the pollen to King Edward, because there's some red flesh in here. Since This one didn't have any scab on it, and this one also hasn't scab on it. I will actually keep 1 or 2 tubers from these to check next year if they produce more. Doesn't look too bad. And this one, pale yellow flesh, not a keeper, but will be good to eat. So that's been open pollinated King Edward. Next one should be around somewhere. I'll go and get it. Here we got an actual variety from Austria, Mehlige Mühlvietler. It's one of the popular varieties to make knödel, potato dumplings basically. And I was checking how late I can plant these to still give me a crop. I was planting these in the beginning of July, so they didn't have a long season. So it will be interesting what the harvest looks like, and it doesn't look bad at all. It's not a very high yielding variety, but the quality makes up for that. They have really outstanding flavor for making knödel. They're like the perfect variety for that. My grandma refused to make any knödel if she didn't have these to do it. So they're really good. And the seed tuber was quite small, maybe that size. So yeah, I'm happy with that. And it shows that I totally have the possibility to sow and harvest a very early crop from a bed and then put down the potatoes in it as a second planting. That's good to know. As long as it's not a super late potato variety which needs a longer season. But that's a good result for planting them this late. The plants just were done making their flowers when frost came, so not bad at all. Last variety is 2 buckets of second year TPS plants from Blue Congo. I'll just get them from the other side of the greenhouse. So, whoop. Second year growing these out. In the first year I just got some microtubers of these. There were plenty of microtubers on the TPS plant last year, but the size was about the size of moose droppings, very purple, very dark shade of purple, and I just wanted to see if it might be worth to keep TPS plants with a bad production first year and just see what they can do second year. Usually I exclude them right away, but if the color is great, it might be still worth it to grow them. So I was growing 2 microtubers, maybe just borrowing from the other variety, a little smaller than this. So ta-da, there's some big potatoes inside. And the plants had really long vines. That's 1.5 meters, I'd say. Good. Decent sized tubers, but just 2 of them. Oh. Just checking carefully that I don't miss any tubers, dark tubers in dark soil. So, not a great producer. Let's see how the second plant did. One. There's 2. 3, 4. Yep. It didn't do much better, so that's the ones from the second container and the ones from the first container. For growing them from a tuber, that's not a good yield. They have some scab. They had all season to grow, so there's really no excuse to not produce better. The only thing which made me keep them was that they have the darkest, they're basically black potatoes, so they're really interesting. And that's really dark purple, but that's for 2 plants. The yield is just not good. I will keep 1 plant next year, just to use it for breeding with another variety which has a good yield. to see if I can pass on the dark features to something which is yielding a little bit better. But yeah, I will use it for breeding for a short time and see if it gives me breeding results in 1 or 2 years. But it might just be easier to back cross it with Blue Congo, which has decent yield. So I'll see. And I'll see how these do when cooked. I think I remember they stayed a very dark purple, not blue, but really, really purple. So I hope I can make something from these and back cross them to one of my dark blue varieties. Maybe Blue Congo, maybe Salad Blue. I'll check my list what might be an interesting breeding partner, because these had lots of flowers for a long time, and in early summer and late summer they were producing flowers another time. So flowering ability seems to be great, just need to find the right pollen for it. So that's it with the potato reveals. All potatoes harvested for this year. Thank you so much for following me through the garden season. I might put up some videos during the winter when I start plants. But I hope to see you next year when potato season starts again. There will sure be some interesting things to watch here. I'm really looking forward to the next season already. I'm not tired of gardening yet. But winter time, snow gardening time around here, so there's not too much to do. Thank you for watching, and see you next year maybe.